racing now. I wish I win from last. A spectacular TJ win. Giga kick down the outside, wins the Everest. Shinzo and Ryan Moore have drawn clear to win the Golden Slipper.
With Tim Gilbert and Julie Snook, this is Racing Dreams.
Well, we're just catching our breath after an amazing Everest day. Many of the people I've spoken to this week that were there said it's the greatest atmosphere they've ever been involved with.
Good morning, Timmy. Good morning to you at home. Almost 50,000 people trackside last week. I think we are still recovering. It was quite something. It was an incredible day, and we'll share some of the highlights with you this morning. Big show coming up. Let's take a look. We catch up with trainer Joe Pride after an Everest day of extremes.
We meet one of the teams taking the Australian race day experience to new heights.
And the sensational spring rolls on for Arrowfield as Group 1 racing continues today.
The way you said that, it sounded like you were talking about spring rolls, like people started to get hungry.
I did have a few of those last week too, I will admit. Well, this year's Sydney Stakes was an Everest of sorts, a Group 1 race in everything but status, and didn't star sprinter Overpass impress.
Yes, and of course, trainer Bjorn Baker, he's always subdued and quiet, but he joins us at the desk. How are you, Bjorn?
Very good, thanks, Tim. Yeah, it's been a big week, and I think very much as a trainer, I think with any big runners, a roller coaster week. So it was great to see Overpass win. He's been a marvellous horse, but good to be here on a Saturday morning.
It's lovely to have you here. Let's talk about last week. The week as a whole, of course, you're also involved with the Everest race, but it is quite the event, from the Monday all the way through into that Sunday.
Yeah, it was very, there were a lot of events on. I think there was the barrier draw on Tuesday night, the gala dinner on Thursday night. I had a big lunch with the connections of Steffi Magnetica, who ran in the Everest on Saturday. And of course, Saturday was a massive day. I think it was the most electric atmosphere I've ever been to. A fantastic day. The crowd was really buzzing, and it was something else to be involved and to be at the track, and yet alone to have runners.
Yeah, look, the Everest 9th for Steffi Magnetica. What did you make of the run?
I thought that just didn't quite work out as well as we probably wanted. I still thought it was a good run under the circumstances. That's the best sprint race in the world. So you can't be too disappointed, although you are when you're in there. You dream about winning it. But she'll head on to the Golden Eagle next Saturday, and another huge race in its own right. So I think we can still mount a pretty good case that she'll be competitive there.
We're just watching that replay now, and we'd said all week in the lead up this was one of the most open Everest fields, and really that result sort of showcased that. It was just a wall of runners, 3 lengths between first and last, I think. It was an incredible race.
Yeah, it was. And I think the winner is an incredible horse too, Bella Nipotina. She just keeps doing it. And she's a phenomenon. She sort of had to do it tough and win there. But I think a lot of those horses, they're at the absolute top of their game as well. So it's going to be exciting to see how a lot of them come out of it. We've got the Russell Balding next week. I think 1 or 2 will go there. And Overpass, and I think 1 or 2 others, possibly Giga Kick, will go to the Champions Sprint in Melbourne. So they'll sort of go different directions now. I think wherever they'll go, they'll be very competitive.
Tell us about the win by Overpass. You did go off like a Saturn rocket. I was obviously being a little bit jestful when I said that you are subdued. You do know how to win.
Yeah, it's he's been a marvellous horse. I think the Derby Racing and myself, he's only 6. It seems like he's about 8 or 9. He's been around for a long time.
The quackers.
Yeah, and he's got a fair few frequent mile points, but he was very good on Saturday, and he's very consistent. He always runs to an absolute peak level, and it was hard to be confident going into that race though, because I think there were was everything but a Group 1. There were, I think, 4 or 6 Group 1 winners in the race. But we thought we had him spot on, and my team at home did a great job. And yeah, he's a very special horse for us all, and I think he can continue to go on and have a really good preparation in Melbourne and then probably to Perth in December.
You said off the back of that run that he was your champion and he's made you a better trainer. How so?
Yeah, I think we've just sort of learned from him, and probably a little bit lucky. He definitely is better fresh, even though we're still keeping the 3-week gap to Melbourne. But about probably trying to target these big races when these horses are better suited, and a little bit of patience as well. So he's been very lightly raced. He's only had 2 runs since last year's Everest, which is his one disappointing run. So very much about just spacing his runs and trying to get the best out of him, and patience as a trainer definitely helps.
Now, there's a rule out at Warwick Farm, if you win a Group 1, you've got to buy some prawns for everyone, and there's been various reports about the quality of the prawns that individuals have bought over time. Now, this wasn't a Group 1, but it was a very, very good race. Was there any pressure on you to go to the seafood markets?
Well, I think a fair few others at Warwick Farm had a pretty good day too, so no, it's not Group 1. I can't do it, and even though it was a great money race, but yeah, Warwick Farm, it's really dominated last week on a big day. We had a number of wins, and Chow Wolf, Ostraka, Bella Nipotina, sort of half Warwick Farm, we claim it. So it was a pretty special day, and Warwick Farm has really turned into probably arguably the most competitive racing precedent in Sydney.
Well, before we let you go, big day today as well. Racing rolls on, of course. You've got runners in the Invitation, the 5 Diamonds, the Calendar Presnell. It's all happening. Who's your best chance today?
Yeah, some chances better than others. I think Belclee's a really good each-way chance. She hasn't had a lot of luck. We've changed her gear a little bit. She's in the Invitation. She's a well-performed New Zealand mare, and I think a More Victorious and I Know a Star, both really good chances in the 5 Diamonds Prelude. So another big day, so hopefully a winner a day keeps the bank manager away.
Please, the way that you talk. Goodness gracious me. Arapaho, just very, very quickly. Chance?
Yeah, he's had 1 or 2 issues, but I think last time he needed that run, I think he's definitely improved, and he's stepping up to a trip that's much better for him. So at 50 to 1, I think I can mount a little bit of a case for him. He's not completely out of it.
Yeah, just a little bit somewhere.
But you've got to be an optimist as a trainer. You've really got to believe, and he's definitely up to it. He's been and won against better fields.
Absolutely. Well, good to see you. I know you've got a busy day. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks
Great.
for coming
Thanks
in.
for having me. Great
nice
to be
to
here.
See you.
Bjorn Baker.
Well, trainer Joe Pride knows all too well the highs and lows of racing. It was all on show last week. I think we can safely say we all held our breath when star sprinter Think About It fell during the Sydney Stakes, Timmy.
Thankfully, last year's Everest winner got back to his feet and all is A-OK. Later in the day came the ecstasy, of course, for Joe, with Cheo Wolf saluting in the King Charles. What a roller coaster.
For the running of the Sydney Stakes, capacity field of 18 running. 2024 Sydney Stakes, and they're off and racing. And over past jump well together with Marzu, and hard to say there, Remark as well. Think About It goes forward out wide, and Cold Crusher moves up on the rails. Further back to Estero, Southport Tycoon with plenty of horses in front. Williamsburg back on the rail. Think About It's gone down at the top of the straight, and unfortunately Think About It has collapsed on the track at the top of the straight. Rider is quite okay, Jason Collett.
You know, pretty traumatic set of events there for him. For those who maybe didn't understand, he had a bleed, which is from their lungs. Ran out of oxygen because he's still exerting himself. He collapsed, basically passed out on the ground, got rid of the blood, and got back to his feet after a few minutes on the ground. And it was very dramatic. I didn't know that at the time. I didn't know what had happened to him. I was assuming maybe he'd sustained a bad injury. Walking down the straight there, the long straight with the screen up, and then I saw his head come up above the screen. I can't explain how I felt.
Oh, well done, Joe.
That must have been the most churning walk. This is a horse, obviously every horse is wonderful. He was last year's Everest winner.
Think About It in front from I Wish I Win. Think About It! Think About It won the Everest.
He had a whirlwind 12 months where he won 9 straight, and just seemed to have the racing world at his feet, and it was you know, he's had a bit of a tough time since then. He hasn't quite raced at that same level, but he seemed to be on his way back, and he'd put in an encouraging run first up. But Saturday was a clear sign to us that his racing days are over, and we just want to make sure his welfare is paramount. We just want to make sure he's got a good home and just look after him.
Yeah, fantastic outcome. And so, how's he been since? And I suppose there's no reason why he can't go on to have a thriving life in the equestrian world.
Yep. There's a lot of different areas that we can a lot of different things that he can do other than the high pressures of racing. So just so grateful to have brought him home here, and as you can see, as I say, he's recovering well and out of danger now, and he's going to live a long and full life.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you had many moments like that in your life, Joe?
No, and I hope I never do again. So, and it was sort of capped off on the day by winning a couple of races, and to have ecstasy and the agony so close together. You normally just want one or the other so you can deal with it, but it was a bit of up and down, and sort of 20 plus years in training prepared me well for the day and survived.
You don't want another one like
I don't want another one. I'll take the success, but yeah, no, it was a bit too much. But it's all part of the job, and that's what you got to. You sign up for it, and the good with the bad, and it was just it's quite unusual to have that much drama in one day.
And we're ready now for the running of the King Charles III Stakes. Ready? And they're racing. New Energy was last out with Chaya Wolf, and Fangirl is third last. Pride Jenny only jumped fairly. Celestial Legends right there on the inside of Pericles. Then came Lion Draw from Chaya Wolf. Celestial Legend the inside. Fangirl and Chaya Wolf heading top gear. My Oberon moved up to Pride Jenny. Pride Jenny, My Oberon, and here's Chaya Wolf, the Epsom winner, with a booming run down the outside. Chaya Wolf takes the lead and won the King Charles III.
He's an amazing horse on the way up. 14 starts now. Pushed him quite hard as a 3-year-old, as a colt. We were trying to get potentially a stallion career for him. I wouldn't say that failed. He ran second in 2 Group 1s, but we decided to geld him and make a genuine performer out of him, and that seems to have worked wonders with him, because he's come back as a spring 4-year-old and just won 2 Group 1s. Quite amazing, and a very special horse.
Absolutely. Well, he's part of Broadway. This little section of Joe Pride Racing is Broadway, because think about it, and Private Eye was that was a great one. Great run in the Everest, coming 6th.
Sure. He's been a great performer over the years. He's finding these short races a little bit sharp for him at the moment, but he's been a fantastic performer, and it's good. It's a boutique stable. I have just less than 50 horses in work at the moment, and a lot of quality here. I'm very thankful for that. Got some fantastic support, great staff, fantastic support from some very committed owners who have been with me for a long time, and it's a successful stable, but a lot of hard work goes into that.
And we're just about ready as Lekvart moves into the outside barrier. Racing now. Watch My Girl was last out, and Lekvart being taken back. Unique Ambition began particularly well and is rolling to the early lead. And now Lekvart heading top gear wide out, and Lekvart run away with the Yank Stakes to beat Quickster.
It was a 3rd Group 3 win. She's a very, very good mare. We bought her in New Zealand, and BK Racing raced her. She's a 6-year-old now. Probably the last 12 months she's really hit a peak. She's won 3 stakes races, and she'll head to Flemington in a couple of weeks' time for the Empire Rose. But very, very talented mare.
And Coal Crusher?
Coal Crusher's a very special horse for us. He's a family horse, and he's on his way to racing at Rosehill in a couple of weeks' time. Another older horse, 7 years old, but showing no signs of fading, and he's had about 38 or 39 starts now, but a very tough, honest performer.
So he'll be in the Russell Balding. He's coming over to say hello.
Yeah.
Think about it. Yep. He's such a beautiful horse, isn't he?
He is. He's gorgeous. He took a long time to get to the races, but he, as I say, a real meteoric rise for him. But it's over for him now on the racetrack. But I'm more than happy to send him into retirement, knowing that he's sound and healthy.
What a horse.
Welcome back to Racing Dreams. Well, Julie, around the tracks there's a lot going on.
Oh, there is so much going on, and not the best preparation for Team Via Sistina ahead of today's Cox Plate. Now, trainer Chris Waller said this week that Via Sistina must be 100%. I've got to get the right camera to run in the Cox Plate today after that track work incident, and it looks to be the case. Now, have a look at this helmet cam vision that we got from the incident as well, if we roll that. The mare was mid-gallop with James McDonald on board when, as you can see, their strapping on her right foreleg unravelled and became caught on her hind offside shoe. A piece of gear was also broken and tangled in her legs. Now, Via Sistina, this is the helmet cam vision now, completed 2 laps before she was caught. The good news, J-Mac also walked away unscathed. The pair will take their place in this afternoon's small but mighty field. Now, today is the 4th running of the invitation here in Sydney. It is the $2 million race for fillies and mares, and just as the name suggests, it is invite only. So since 2021, we've seen Ice Bath, Promise of Success and Espiona all win. Their one common denominator, Karen McAvoy was riding. Today, he rides Arctic Glamour, while Tommy Berry is on the favourite Lentia for Chris Waller. Meantime, the most successful barrier in the short history of the race has been barrier 10, Timmy. Today, that belongs to Q's Likely, ridden by Rachel King.
Now, speaking of Rachel King, Rachel's headed for the US next for the Breeders' Cup.
Yeah, Rachel will make history as the first Australian resident to compete at the prestigious Breeders' Cup meeting in Del Mar in California. On the 1st of November, the Breeders' Cup is a 2-day international horse racing event which features 14 Grade 1 races, attracting top jockeys, horses and trainers from right across the world. Rachel will partner with Japan's Satono Carnival in the Group 1 Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf over 1,600 metres. Rachel was also the first foreign female to win a flat-graded race in Japan this year, claiming victory in the American Jockey Club Cup aboard Chuck Nate in the Group 3 Tokyo Shinbun High.
Not long until the big dance.
Oh, the countdown is on. Ticket sales have reportedly jumped 30% on last year for the big dance on November 5. Mark it in your calendar. The day will feature a 10-race card highlighted by the $3 million big dance, plus the Peacock Lounge. There it is. Again, will come to life. There's Yum Cha in the wing stand and DJs at the Theatre of the Horse. As we saw there last week, it is a crowd favourite.
I didn't want to mention it before, but some really nice news about the Think About It story.
Oh, this is exactly what we wanted to hear. We heard from Joe Pride earlier in the show about his star sprinter Think About It following that scary incident at Randwick during the Sydney Stakes. We've now heard that Think About It, affectionately known as Spud in the stable, will spend his retirement in the Hunter Valley at the farm of jockey Sam Clipperton. Of course, Sammy Parton, Think About It during last year's Tab Everest win. So the vision we just saw then was Think About It not wanting to get on the float. He wanted to stay right where he was, but a little bit of encouragement from Joe Pride and a big smile as well, and he managed to get on the float. Now, Sammy and Spud have always had a wonderful relationship, and we understand Spud will be retrained as a stock horse. So one of the owners saying everyone wants an Everest winner in their paddock or on their team, but the best outcome for the horse, who has given us so much, is to go with somebody who already loves him, Timmy. So it's a lovely end.
Absolutely, and you can see in the box in the corner, of course, there's live coverage of the Queensland election. There's Stephen Miles, who is the sitting Premier of Queensland. Looks like we'll have a new leader, but continuing coverage in about 40 minutes' time, and we'll have coverage all through the day and the night. There's just a little bit of politics to splash over the top of Racing Dreams.
You can do it all, can't you, Timmy? Well, today is Moet and Shandon Spring Champion Stakes Day at Royal Randwick. You do politics, I do Moet and Shandon.
Well, I'll do a little bit of weather now, Julia. It's a clear blue sky day, a little cooler in Sydney. Let's take a look at how the track is.
We are at Royal Randwick as the Sydney Everest Carnival continues for Moet and Shandon Spring Champion Stakes Day. Of course, the $2 million Group 1 feature for 3-year-olds. There's also the Group 2 $2 million, the Invitation as well. Joining me is Racecourse Manager Michael Wood. And Michael, some warmer weather yesterday. What's that done for the track? Yeah, it was quite warm. Did get a bit of cloud cover later on, which sort of diffused it a little bit. But look, the track continues to grow well. The warmer conditions and fine conditions have, seen us firm up, and we're in that good fall range this morning. So good fall range. What is the forecast for the rest of the week? Yeah, there are some showers forecast this afternoon into tomorrow morning. So with the amount that they're forecast, that might be spot on for us. Obviously, we'll just wait and see what that does. And if it's the right amount, then we can just leave the track alone. If it's not, well, we've always got the opportunity to put some irrigation on tomorrow afternoon. But we'll assess that when we do the inspection tomorrow. It's a fantastic day, Tab Everest Day. How did the track pull up? And I see there's a bit of work happening today. The rail going to move out for Saturday? Yeah, look, I was extremely pleased with the way Everest Day panned out. Unfortunately, the weather wasn't exactly how they'd forecast with full sunshine, but we're sitting in around that 4 or 5 range for the majority of the day. So track held together really well. We'll move that rail out to the 5 metres just to get off all that wear and tear. It has been a very busy last few months for the track, but we'll go out to 5 metres and then we'll be back on an inside rail position for Big Dance. All right, exciting. Yeah, of course, the Big Dance coming up as well. The carnival rolls on. We've got 4 more meetings. Make sure you do get involved. Theraces.com.au. Get your tickets and make sure you're here Saturday. Michael, best of luck.
Thanks, mate.
There you go. It looks like another good track at Randwick. Technology is playing a huge part in all television broadcasts these days. I love seeing those high shots, looking down on our wonderful equine athletes. That brilliant bird's eye view.
Yeah, it's so good. We're now seeing drone technology used at the track. And as you can imagine, when it comes to racing, there's some dangers to consider. I went out to the busiest day of the year to check out the eyes in the skies that are taking racing to new heights.
With horse racing, we're all over the world. We're here, but there's eyes in every pub. Everywhere that it's being shown is our footage is being shown. So it's kind of interesting to think how many eyes get on screen for some of our footage.
Here we are in the infield of the track. This is a part of the track that not many punters get to see, but this is your little neck of the woods.
Sure is, yeah. We get a nice view from here. So we've got the Inspire 3. So this is the latest and greatest kind of broadcast and cinematic drone. It's got all the safety features and all that kind of stuff, because as you can imagine, being around lots and lots of people and very expensive racehorses, we need to make sure that our safety protocol is kind of up to standard. We've worked really hard with Racing New South Wales and ATC and the broadcasters to dial in that safety part of it, right? Because we need to keep a certain separation from the horses, people on the track, the crowds. So there's a lot going on. Today is even more complex because we have a chopper. So we like to feel that we fit in between the chopper and the kind of ground cameras, because we offer a perspective in between that, which is really different. But the safety, as you say, is really how we've kind of come into our own on that. And then we actually started in harness racing. So we started in Victoria doing a lot of harness racing. We got, people saw what we were doing there, and then we've sort of grown up and come into thoroughbreds, which is, it's in its own has a lot more complexities and stuff, but it's really about the safety and working with the whole industry is sort of coming together to kind of work on getting drones and using that as a kind of new technology.
Are you finding other clubs internationally are now starting to show an interest in this type of work? Are they reaching out to you?
They are actually, yes. We've had inquiries from the Hong Kong Jockey Club, obviously, quite well renowned, and some of the ones in the UK as well, because they're just... Drones have been in horse racing for quite a while, but I feel like we've developed a product, with our broadcast partners and stuff, to make the product unique, and then working on top of that with the safety. So I think there's a lot of interest about how we're doing what we're doing, getting the shots that we're getting that look like they're really close, but still keeping the separation from horses, people, and all of the other important things.
Speaking about complexity, Pride of Jenny in the Queen Elizabeth back in the autumn, she would have made your job even that little bit more tricky that day, because her run was something we've never seen here before. How did you navigate that?
It's a great question. Look, what we did is once she stretched a little bit, we had to so we were tracking from behind, which we do when there's no chopper. So when the chopper's on, we're doing an infield shot, and when he's not here, we're going behind, which we're actually the only company in Australia that's allowed to do that. But when she stretched so far, we actually had to switch midway through the race to an infield tracking shot to kind of show the distance, because we were going to end up over the rear of the pack. So we had to make that decision mid-flight to basically swing out and try and capture, and then just capture her the whole way in, but really try and zoom out to kind of get the perspective of how much she was actually leading by.
That ended up being the shot of the day, really, because that was the only way we could really get a visual of just how far she had stretched out.
Yeah, exactly right. And I think I did a little bit of a tally after. I think we got across all social media channels, I think we got nearly 500,000 views of that drone shot just out of that one race.
Can't wait to see these shots today.
Yeah, so we're looking forward to it, and it's not too windy. We've got the all clear, so we're kind of in the box position to cover some really nice footage today. On a day like today, you can feel that crowd energy even from all the way on the infield, right? So yeah, it's fun to be a part of something and to be able to shoot something so nice.
You are watching Racing Dreams, and what a spring it has already been for Arrowfield. And of course, it continues with another huge day of racing at Royal Randwick, Timmy.
Arrowfield's Communications Manager Susan Archer joins us right now. And last Saturday in particular was unbelievable.
Well, it surely was, Tim. Good morning, Tim. Good morning, Julie. I love that piece on the drone technology, by the way. Absolutely fascinating. We had 3 new stakes winners for our stallions and 3 graduate feature and stakes race winners on the day. I mean, I get pretty grumpy if we don't have 1 or 2 big race results on a race day, but to have 6 of them on one of the biggest days of the year, I was like the proverbial one-armed paper hanger. I was flat-tack the whole day and loved every minute of it.
Well, as you've said yourself, Susan, the results on the track is what it's all about for you, and you've just had such a brilliant start to the spring.
Oh, we certainly have. I mean, we kicked off with a couple of big Group 1 winners, Lady Shenandoah and Private Life, both Group 1 3-year-old classic winners, both bred and sold by Arrowfield. And, you know, it doesn't get better than that, but it surely did last Saturday. We had 3 new stakes winners, Lofty Arch for Schnitzel, King of Wall Street for Dundeel, and most importantly, Aliana won for Castelvecchio, and she was the second stakes winner for Castelvecchio in 8 days. And for a young stallion, that's really, really important to bring up that kind of result. So it was very important. And of course, El Castello, also by Castelvecchio, is one of the favourites for the spring champion today. So we're hoping Castelvecchio can back up and get his first Group 1 winner as well. And then, you know, that was big enough. But we then had 3 graduate stakes and feature race winners, Estriella and Lady in Pink at Caulfield, and Ostraka, who won the $1 million Silver Eagle at Randwick. So it was just a sensational day. In fact, at one stage, I kind of lost track of the numbers, and John Massara rang me up and said, no, I think we've had 6. And of course, he was right. 6 it was. So plenty to celebrate, and really important because, you know, we're putting huge amounts of money, time, energy. All our people are at full stretch at the farm at the moment. All the breeders and buyers and trainers who support us, who buy our horses, these are the results we need. We're here to breed and sell great racehorses.
What about King of Wall Street? I love the name.
Oh, well, isn't it a great name? And he's the 31st stakes winner for Dundeel, and really does look like a Derby prospect. So fingers crossed that he makes it there. Dundeel already has 8 Group 1 winners, so you know, he's a stallion absolutely heading for the top. And now Castelvecchio, his son, is doing the job as well. So plenty to keep an eye on with Dundeel. And then Schnitzel, of course. Lofty Arch was stakes winner number 149, and 4 days later, Schnitzel added number 150, Saint Emilion, in the Geelong Classic. So, you know, it's interesting. Across his whole career, Schnitzel averages a stakes win about every 19 days. But this season, in the first 84 days of the season, he's had 7 stakes wins, and that's about 1 every 12 or 13 days. So he's not slowing down, he's speeding up.
Which is music to your ears, Susan, I know that. Obviously, these stallion and graduate results are perfectly timed because we're heading into that 2025 yearling sales season as well. We've got Magic's just around the corner and preparations well and truly underway.
Oh, well, our Magic Millions yearlings have just come in to begin their preparation. You're quite right. We have something over 200 yearlings to sell from January to June. Farmers at full stretch, of course, still getting mares in foal and still taking bookings to our stallions. But we're now looking forward to the yearling sales. So really important results. And it's great to see results coming out of all those sales by Arrowfield graduates. Private Life is a Magic Millions graduate, Lady Shenandoah, Estriella, the Inglis Easter graduates. You know, we want to sell out of every sale. And the interesting thing is a lot of the horses I've just been talking about were bought for under $200,000. So, you know, we sell at every level. And our aim is simply to do the best we can for the horses from the beginning of their lives, set them up for a great racing career, and watch our clients, watch owners and trainers and jockeys and the racing fans enjoy the ride with them.
Susan, you're always the best advertisement for this industry because you speak with such passion. You love this sport, don't you? And you love the animal, you love the thoroughbred.
I really do, and I really appreciated your coverage of Via Sistina and also Think About It. And I think what they illustrate is how incredible the animals are, that they are able to cope with all sorts of things, but also the incredible love that people have for them. And I saw the footage of Jason Collett going straight to Think About It after he collapsed and immediately calmed the horse. And that's what great horse people do, because their fundamental, their first thing that they think, that they do is think about the horse. So it's really important to show that, racing is full of ups and downs, but always it's the care and the love of the horse that is at the beginning and the middle and the end of it.
Yeah, well said, Susan. And as you said, Jason Collett, it was wonderful to see that reaction from him on Saturday. It is Cox Plate Day in the Valley today. Is that, I think, one of your favourite paintings behind you? You've mentioned it before.
Well, that's Sunline, and my husband Michael Martin and I were proud to breed her and to follow her incredible career. She started in 4 Cox Plates. She won 2 of them, and it's 25 years since she won her first one. I think one of her very best performances, beating Tie the Knot, Sky Heights, and a horse called Redout's Choice. And Testarossa. It was a terrific field. But, I think as time goes on, we just feel so much gratitude for her and so much pride in her, and her record just gets better and better. She started in 4 Cox Plates, won 2 of them, was second and fourth in the other 2. An incredible horse, and as time goes on, just gets better and better.
It makes me old, but I remember covering it at the time, and what a mighty horse, what a bunch of mighty horses you just mentioned then. Susan, have a lovely day. Thanks for coming on.
My pleasure, always.
Thank you, Susan. You will not find a more passionate individual in this industry.
Oh, absolutely. Now, we've been talking about a few people and groups that have had amazing springs. Well, Chad Schofield, he's had a ripper.
Oh, he certainly has. 2 Group 1s, both on the same horse. Of course, we're talking about Chairwolf following up his win in the Epsom with a win in the King Charles III.
We're just having a minor technical issue with that one. We will try and sort that out and then get back to it. But I did get to see Chad Schofield during the week, and his dad was there, Glenn, his wife was there, and the kids were there. He's only jumped on Chayo twice, and he's won the Epsom and the King Charles.
And the whole family was there on Saturday to win with the King Charles win, and they all had the photos with the King Charles trophy. And I went and saw Joe Pride at the start of the season and sat down with him, and Chairwolf was always one that he had very high hopes for. It's great to see the results.
He's going to take a little break now, but next year, boy oh boy, the Queen Elizabeth Stakes in the autumn. We'll take a break and be back. Yeah, a cracking spring for Chad Schofield. Welcome back to Racing Dreams. I speak of a jockey. He's won 7 Group 1s now, including 2 on Chayo Wolf. Take a look.
So there's 5 to move in now for the Epsom. Capacity field of 20, and Chayo Wolf is the race favourite around the $4 mark.
Now the favourite's coming, Chayo Wolf, right down the outside. Tom Kidden tries to go with him, but Chayo Wolf with the wind in his sails draws away for a big win in the Epsom. The Epsom winner with a booming run down the outside. Chayo Wolf takes the lead and won the King Charles III, roaring home to win the King Charles III.
Well, here he is, Chayo Wolf. Chad Schofield, you sat on him 2 times, 1 Epsom, 1 King Charles. Quite remarkable.
Yeah, it's remarkable. It's just, as a jockey, you hope to get on a horse like this, and for me, it just happened. The stars aligned, and I was able to get on him at just the right time, and he's given me 2 of the most incredible wins.
Tell us about the King Charles. Tell us about the race.
I was very confident going in, but obviously we had Pride of Jenny and Fangirl at the peak of their powers. So, although I was I think
he's agreeing with everything he's saying.
Such a believer in the horse, we're facing 2 champion mares. I knew it was going to be a brutal pace, because that's what Pride of Jenny does every start. But for some reason, I just knew he'd soak that up. But yeah, we travelled back on the rail. He was very comfortable. He found a lovely rhythm. Fangirl was under a lot of pressure a lot earlier than me. I let her go. I came off her back, and when I sort of asked him for an effort, we saw that turn of foot, it was remarkable.
Pride of Jenny, my Oberon, and here's Cheowolf, the Epsom winner, with a booming run down the outside. Cheowolf takes the lead and won the King Charles III, running down Pride of Jenny, my Oberon third.
And the Epsom was such a different race, wasn't it?
It was a different race. He obviously had a much lighter weight that day, and they didn't go all that quick. The field was very bunched, it was muddling. I was just trying to give him room because I knew I was on the best horse, and I just had to give him even luck and he wins. So I was just trying to give myself the option where I could go later on in the race, and we were able to do that. I got him nice and wide into the clear, and away he went.
Cheowolf right down the outside. Tom Kidden tries to go with him, but Cheowolf with the wind in his sails draws away for a big win in the Epsom.
Look, I know you've won a Cox Plate. This is your 7th Group 1. How do you encapsulate this little period, though? It doesn't happen a lot, does it?
It doesn't happen a lot. Good horses are really hard to find, and they're even harder to keep and stay on, but he's very good, and I'm hoping he can give you my 2nd Cox Plate.
Absolutely. Well, that's the kind of race that obviously he'll be tipped out now and gone for a spell. He deserves a little break.
Absolutely. He's done so much this prep. As a gelding, Joe's done the most remarkable job with him. He's been ultra consistent, and he's a winner now, so he's going to go have a nice deserved break.
How do you cope with the busy life? You've got 2 little kids, busy family, busy job.
Yeah, no, it is busy, it is full on, but it's just what I'm used to now. It's my life, and it's great. I love it.
What's harder, being a jockey or looking after 2 little ones?
It depends what time in the morning.
Oh, absolutely. So there's no break when you come home.
No, my wife's really good though. If she knows I'm wasting hard or got work early in the morning, she sort of gives me a bit of space. But yeah, no, it's all good.
Finally, what do you think of the Sydney Spring? There's still a fair bit to go.
Fair bit to go. Some good races coming up, but yeah, that atmosphere there on Saturday for the King Charles and Everest, it was the best I've probably ever experienced on a racetrack, and I've ridden all over the world. So it's just so nice to see Sydney racing thriving the way it is.
There was an enormous crowd, and that Sweet Caroline, I think everyone sang it.
Yeah, it just perked me up, and it was obviously 2 races before ours. But when I went out on him, I was full of adrenaline.
And rightly so as well. Great result.
Absolutely, and thanks so much to Chad. It was great catching up with him, and Glenn was there as well. It was one of those mornings out there at Warwick Farm. It is time to have a chat about the tipping comp. Joining us is Mark Brassel from Racing New South Wales and Shane O'Cass from the Daily Telegraph. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning. Good morning, everybody.
Last week, no one got anything. It was one of those. It was a duck egg. So well done.
Yeah, well done, Phil. At least it's a level playing field.
8 duck eggs in a basket, eh?
That means none of us selected the winner of the Everest.
Or a placing.
Or a placing, actually. God, that's even worse, isn't it? All right, Shane, today, who are you going with? Who's your tip for the week?
Out wide here.
Yeah, look, I'm with Arctic Glamour. She's racing in the $2 million The Invitation. She's trained by Gerald Ryan and Sterling Alexio. Look, she's been a really good mare all the way through. She probably hasn't quite achieved at that top level yet, but she has been running good races in some of the better races this time in. She ran 2nd in the Missile. She ran in the Tramway, the Golden Pendant, and her last start was in the Epsom. Obviously, she's not quite as effective at a mile as she is at 1400, so she's back to her own sex today. She's back to 1400, and the Randwick track really does suit her because she's probably got the best finish of any mare in this race. So, look, if they can keep her handy enough and get her into some clear air, I think she might be the one. She's 26 into 13, so there's a little bit of specking for her ahead of this race.
Yeah, 26 into 13s. No, that's a great tip if it comes off. Now, I've gone for something slightly shorter than that. I've gone for an ode, and look, this is the Calendar Presnell, and last time at Rose Hill really gave the opposition no chance at all. Up in distance today, it's got to beat Just Party, so I think that she might come out a little bit closer to the race. An ode, he will come out a little bit just close to the weight, this 3-year-old colt, but that's the way I'm going. An ode, Waterhouse Bott stable with Tim Clark on board today, Mark.
Not a bad pick. Well, I'm going El Castello, the Anthony Cummings trained colt in race 7, which today is the Spring Champion Stakes, stretches out to the 2000 for the first time. Josh Parr rides. Now, I've got a little bit of a stat for you, and this will lead nicely into you, Mark. 11 of the past 20 Spring Champion Stakes winners finished top 2 in the Gloaming the start. Prior, this year, those 2 horses were El Castello and Swift Falcon.
There you go. That's a lead into me, is it?
Straight into you,
You've
sir.
gone with the Hawks, haven't you, Swift
I've gone
Falcon?
with the Falcon. It's a, isn't it when someone kicks the ball into your head in rugby league?
Yeah,
and
Mario Finney.
the Falcon. Swift Falcon, you'll see him back here near last. Yellow armbands, yellow cap in the blue. He'll sprint down the outside. I just think he's a really good horse. This puts pay to these pretty quickly in the big Randwick straight. His second last start, he just got so far back, and as Julie said, like he ran second to El Castello. I did see that the owner said they're going to ride him a bit more forward, as in not out the back, about midfield. So if he's within striking distance, geez, I think he'll run over the top of them, hopefully.
All right, let's see who everyone else has gone with this week, because the competition's getting down to the pointy end. Kirsten Duke from Sky Racing has chosen Margot's Deal in race 6 at Kembla Grange. Julianne Horseman from Kembla Grange Racecourse is today with Smashing Time race 4, number 4 at Randwick. Nick Burney from Racing New South Wales is on Zan at Kembla Grange, race 2, number 9. Jared Croker. Oh, Jared, you need a win, mate. Tipping Zoo Gotcha in race 8 at Randwick. We don't need to look at the leaderboard.
So next week is our penultimate program, Golden Eagle Day, and then we finish up the following. So we've got today, next week, and the week after that. And look at all that sort of, yeah, absolutely. The old cinnamon donuts, left, right, and centre.
Timmy's just hanging on to the lead there.
Just by the beak, I'm just ahead. But old mate Arctic Glamour wins today, and I could be down. But
Jared needs a win.
Yeah, and Mark, I think Mark's out of the relegation zone at 9. I think that you're probably
I'm chipping away. Can't we get some gremlins into the machine and fiddle around, tamper with those
For
points?
weeks I've been asking. Now, Shane, let's have a closer look at today's racing, the $2 million Spring Champion Stakes. Who are you liking?
Well, look, I'm with you, Julie, on El Castello for a lot of the reasons that you mentioned. The Gloaming Stakes is the traditional lead up to the race, and that's an amazing statistic, isn't it? What you said, that 11 out of the last 20 winners have finished first or second. And in fact, we've got 6 of the horses that raced in the Gloaming Stakes are in the Spring Champion today, including the trifecta. And another of the horses that actually ran 6th is Heinlein, the Victorian, that a lot of people are spruiking, given that he's going to look for the 2000 as more than anything. I think Brass made a good point there about Swift Falcon. If they can ride the horse a little bit closer, maybe he can get a bit closer to El Castello, who's going to be up on the speed. But given the draw that Swift Falcon has, it's going to be very, very dodgy for him from that 2,000 metre start at Randwick exactly getting across. So I think it's going to be a great race. I would think that one of the 2 Gloaming horses are going to win, as they traditionally do, that's first or second. It's just a matter of which one, because they're both sort of peaking on the day.
$2 million invitation for mares and fillies. Chris Waller's only got 3 in this.
Yeah, that's right. He's normally got half the field. But look, another Victorian, but trained by one of our old Randwick friends in Begg, Graham Begg, that is. He's got Magic Time running in this race. She ran 3rd in the invitation last year. She's a great mare. She's won the All-Age Stakes at Randwick over this track and distance, beating all comers. She's also a Sir Rupert Clark winner over 1400. So it's no wonder she's favourite. She's in great form. She ran terrifically well in Melbourne last start. She handles all conditions. She's slugging it out in the wet there, but she's just as good on the firm surface. Look, no wonder she's favourite. She's a great mare, and she's owned by Johnny Muir, who owned an Epsom Doncaster winner back with Graham a long time ago in Secret Admirer. So he's got another great mare on his books now.
And she's got much better conditions today, that's for sure. The 5 Diamonds Prelude.
Yeah, look, it might fall to another interstate horse, Yellow Brick. He's only been to Sydney once and he failed as favourite in the Silver Eagle, but I think he had excuses. He's been obviously campaigning back home in Brisbane. This is his last start win. You can see him just setting out after this leader, which is actually him, but he was way too good here. And he's a very high-class horse. It's just a matter of he hasn't stepped up at that top level yet. Today's the opportunity for Yellow Brick to show what he's really made of, and he is favourite again. So So there'll be he'll lose a few fans if he can't win, but I think he will. He's a high-class horse.
Well, race 5, it's a Group 2. It's named after 2 of the legends of racing media, Calendar Presnell. I've gone for a node here. It's over 1,600 metres, and these guys are 2 legends. Of course, I know them well. Know Kenny probably better than Max, but 2 fantastic guys.
Yeah, 2 of my absolute idols. I watched them all on TV and read their stories in the paper before I even got into the industry. And I can tell you from having sat in the press room, Max and Ken are 2 people that always take the younger people under their wings, and they are doyens of their trade and absolute legends of human beings. So I hope they have a great afternoon out there today. They've got a great race named after them, and it's big day, Cox Plate day. Ken and Max will be right there at Randwick to the fore.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a node might just get the chocolates and secure me the win in the tipping comp. Good to see you, Shane.
Let's hope not.
Let's hope not. I'm so competitive that I now go and keep a tab on who's got what runner where it's placed, so I know before Monday.
Yeah, well, I don't really want to win, but good to see you.
Great to see you guys, and I must concur with Shane, Maxi Presnell and Ken Calendar, absolute legends. In my time at the Telegraph, I worked with both, and just amazing men. And as Shane also said, they were there as mentors and really looked after all the young blokes. So I hope they have a great day.
Absolutely. Well, we'll do it all again next week, won't we?
We certainly will. Thank you to our great sponsors, Racing New South Wales and Arrowfield. We'll be back next week. Racing Dream.
See you, Ned.